where you might find the right job for you. I am Mr. McGee, and this week you guys have voted for us to talk about 4 very different jobs that you wanted to see tonight at the end of the show, and you will vote. These jobs are a doctor, a firefighter, and an environmental engineer. In order to get a full understanding on these particular jobs, I would like to welcome Dr. Zeus, environmental engineer Matthew something or other, and last but not least, firefighter Alexia Huckleberry. Welcome, you guys. How are you doing tonight? Alrighty then. Remember, this is a civilized show. Alright, so Dr. Zeus, if you were to describe being doctor in one word, what would it be?
Well, it's frustrating. Being a doctor is a very fulfilling role. Knowing the fact that you're helping people is such a pleasurable feeling.
Yes, I bet it is. I know it's looked highly upon to. Dr. Zeus, what are some of the qualifications you need to achieve prior to becoming a doctor?
Well, I first had to receive a diploma in high school, and then further down the road, I needed my bachelor's degree in university. You also need to take many courses of math and science. Luckily for me, those were always my strong subjects.
Very good. What about your personal traits? How do you have to act?
You brought that up. Actually, positive behavior is very important in this job. For example, you need to be compassionate and
Sorry, I'm getting really boring.
Haha, neat. You had mentioned earlier that this job may be a little frustrating. Does the time and energy that is put into this job affect that at all?
Yeah, it does. You need to be really dedicated and committed to your role as a doctor. I found that you need to be physically alert and awake for a long period of time, and eventually it gets pretty tiring.
Yeah, I bet. Obviously, this profession helps people, but what are some of the importances of this job?
Well, for starters, there are so many injuries and illnesses that happen daily. It would be almost impossible to imagine life without doctors. I can honestly say that Earth's population would be very little if we never had the proper health care.
I see your point exactly. Since this job is so important, what is the pay to it?
About $310,000 each year.
Wow, that's great. I think we should just all become doctors. So Matthew, how much do you get paid for this job?
Well, there's quite a range. It ranges from $66,000 a year to about $187,000 a year.
It seems as if this job only affects the environment. Is that true?
It's funny because that is what so many people say. It affects the animals by protecting their habitat. It also affects the developers who are wanting to develop on the land. And it makes them angry sometimes.
Okay, so Miss Huckleberry, a firefighter, hey? A firefighter role is often quite appreciated. Does it deserve all of its recognitions? Of course, so many people rely on firefighters. Firefighters can do something extremely heroic, such as save a person's life from a fire, or something simple like rescuing an old lady's cat from a tree. Choo-choo! Haha. So, Alexia, what does this job affect? Mainly, it affects people who are in need. It also greatly affects our close family and friends, considering it is a job that is a risk for your life. Try to have a conversation here. What about the minimum requirement for this job? There's actually quite a list. Some basic things that you need is a diploma from high school, pre-service firefighter education and training, level C of first aid and CPR training, uncorrected 20/20 vision plus, a valid It's time for you to cast your votes to see what ranking comes in.
1, 2, 3.
Vote now! Okay, your votes are in. Time to look at the career pyramid. At the bottom, firefighter. Second, environmental engineer. And very top, a doctor. So why do you think the jobs ranked as they did?
Well, obviously, a doctor is extremely important to our society. If we never had a doctor, our society would have many issues.
And apparently, an environmental engineer is more important than a firefighter.
Definitely.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh.
Well, I think the rankings is really reasonable. The environment needs more protection than people who are like trapped in a fire. If an environmental engineer didn't exist, our environment probably wouldn't exist. Eat that.
Yes, you have a very good point. Alright, it's time to take a commercial break and stay tuned for the volunteers.